There is a kind of wisdom the old Dine taught that almost no one teaches anymore. Not the big ceremonies, not the sacred words that were never mine to hand out. Something smaller than that and much closer to the ground. The everyday things. The small teachings that quietly held a life together, like the stitches you never see that hold a whole garment on. And when they went missing, most people did not even notice they were gone. They only felt the lack, a kind of quiet hunger they could not put a name to. Tonight I want to sit with you a while and take my time and hand a few of them back. When people think about what was lost, they think about the grand things, the ceremonies, the old language, the knowledge that took a whole lifetime to carry. And some of that is gone, and that is a real grief, and I will not pretend otherwise. But the wisdom that really slipped away was smaller than that, and it was everywhere. It was taught at the kitchen table. It was taught beside the fire in the ordinary hours, when nobody in the room thought they were teaching anything at all. It was how to live, handed down in 100 small corrections. A word here, a look there. This is how you do this. No, not like that, like this. That is the inheritance that got thin, not the mountain, the worn little path up the side of it that everyone used to know by heart. So let me hand a few of them back, one at a time. Small things. Just listen and see if any of them fit your own life, because I think some of them will. The first one is about the morning. The old people taught that the first thing you do with a day is the thing that sets the whole day. So you met the morning on your feet. You stepped outside, or you turned toward the light coming in, and you said a word of thanks before you asked the day for a single thing, before the worry, before the list of what had to be done, before the wanting started up. Just one clean moment where the day was still whole, and you were grateful to be standing in it. Now, for most of us, the day begins in our own hands. It begins on a screen, inside somebody else's noise and somebody else's bad news, before our eyes are even fully open. We reach for the whole world before we have so much as said good morning to it. It sounds like a small thing. I am telling you, it is not a small thing. What you do in the first 5 minutes leaks quietly into all the minutes that come after it. The old ones knew that. They taught it without making a lecture of it, and we mostly stopped. The second one is about the old people themselves. There was a way of being around an elder. You made room. You slowed yourself down to their speed. You let them finish, even when they were slow getting there, even when you had heard the story twice before. And the teaching underneath all of that was simple. The old ones carry what the young still need, so you honor the one who carries it. But here is the hard part, the part that turns back around on us. When we stopped honoring the old, we did not just lose our good manners. We quietly closed the very door that the wisdom used to come through. An elder does not hand you the deep things because you are clever, or quick, or successful. He hands them to you because you sat down, because you got quiet, because you waited, and you were still there when he was ready. Fewer people sit down now. Fewer people get quiet. And so fewer people are handed anything at all. The disrespect and the forgetting are not two problems. They are the same wound. The third one is about work, and about what a person does when no one at all is watching. The old Dine taught you to do a thing right even when no eye would ever fall on it. To finish the back of the fence as carefully as the front, not because someone might come and check it, because you would know, and the land would know, and in the end, those were the only two witnesses that ever really mattered. They understood something about people that we have gotten confused about. Cutting a corner is never really a small thing. It is practice. Every single time you do it, you are training yourself quietly to become a person who cuts corners. And one day that person shows up inside something that truly matters and does the same thing there, because that is who you spent years teaching yourself to be. The discipline of the unwatched hour. That was a plain and ordinary teaching once. It is mostly untaught now. The fourth one is about your words. They taught that a word is a great deal heavier than it looks. You do not say a hard thing loosely. You do not throw a person's name around in anger, because a name spoken in anger stays in the room a long time after you have walked out of it. Hold your tongue, they said, and they did not mean it out of fear or weakness or having nothing to say. They meant that a word is a real thing. When you speak, you are sending something out into the world that you can never fully call back. So you choose it. You weigh it in your hand first. You let some things stay unsaid on purpose, as a kind of strength. And now look at the time we live in. We speak more and faster and more carelessly than any people who have ever walked the earth, into more ears than the old ones could have dreamed of. That quiet teaching about guarding your tongue is older than all our screens. We could use it now more than they ever did. The fifth one is the oldest of them all and the deepest, and I have saved it for last. It is about the land. The old people taught that you live with the land, as a part of it, not up on top of it, taking. That everything around you stood in some relation to you, and you to it, and that none of it was just there for the taking. And they warned in their gentle way that when a people loses its balance with the world around it, something spiritual begins to fade in them, slowly, so slowly you might not catch it happening. Someone said that to me once, very plainly, and I have never forgotten it. When we lost our balance with nature, the connection faded away. I do not think that is a slogan. I think it is a diagnosis. I think a great deal of what aches in people now is the simple ache of a life lived on the land instead of with it. We took and we did not tend. We used and we did not think. And then we stood in a full and living world and somehow wondered why we felt so alone in it. Now notice something about all 5 of these teachings. Not one of them is hard to understand. A child could understand every one of them in a single afternoon, and that is exactly why they were so easy to lose. The big things get written down and guarded and argued over and kept safe under lock. It is the simple things, the ones that seemed too plain and obvious to bother saying out loud, that quietly walk out the door the moment the person who lived them is gone. You do not lose the mountain. You lose the worn little daily habits of the people who lived at the foot of it. And a whole way of living is nothing but a great stack of small habits like these, held up by people who still remember why they matter. Now, I have named 5 for you. The morning, the old ones. The unwatched work, the tongue, the land. And maybe you are waiting for me to tell you who it was that came and took these teachings away from us. But that is not the story, and I will not give you an easy one. No one stole them. The truth is gentler than a theft, and sadder. The old ones simply grew tired, the way all of us will, and they passed one by one, and each of them carried a little of it out of the world with them when they went. Life got faster. The table got quieter. There was less time to stop and correct a child in the small ways, and after a while, the small ways just stopped getting passed along at all. It happens without anyone ever deciding it. A grandmother knows 40 small things and teaches maybe 30 of them, because there was never an afternoon quiet enough for the other 10. Her granddaughter grows up knowing those 30 and passes on 20. And 3 generations down the line, a person is standing in a life that feels strangely thin, and they cannot tell you what is missing, because you cannot miss by name a thing that was never handed to you in the first place. That is how it goes, quietly, almost kindly. There is no villain in it anywhere. Someone wrote something to us once that I have not been able to put down since. When the elders go away, they said, the stories are forgotten, no longer told, no longer taught to the ones coming up. Remember, remember, remember. That is grief, and I will let it be grief. But hear me now. It is not the end of the grief. Because here is the one thing you must understand about a forgotten teaching. It is only ever one single person away from being taught again. That is the mercy hidden inside all of it. You do not need a ceremony to meet the morning on your feet. You do not need a bloodline to make room for an old person, or to do the unwatched work honestly, or to hold your tongue when it wants to run, or to live with the land instead of only on it. None of these were ever locked away from you. They were only set down for a while, and anything a person sets down, another person can pick right back up. So do not go trying to carry all 5 of them at once. You will drop them. Pick one. Pick the one that landed on you while I was talking, the one you already know, quietly, that you have been letting slide. Live that one this week. Just that one, on purpose, the slow, careful way the old ones did it. And if you do, then that teaching is not lost anymore. It is alive again in you, and it will be standing there ready for whoever happens to be watching how you live. You do not have to be Dine to do any of this. Take whatever helped you here tonight and make it stronger in your own life, in your own way, among your own people. That is how the good things come back to a world, not all at once and not from the top down. One person, one small forgotten teaching, one ordinary week at a time. If this stayed with you, walk the good path with us and stay a while. And remember what the old ones say, when they have finished telling you something true, and those are the things we are told.